So it has been a minute since I've been out doing deliveries again, and I've learned a lot in the last little while that I've been doing these deliveries, recording them and sharing them here on YouTube. So I figured, why not turn to YouTube to give some tips, tricks, or advice that I have been going through when it comes to doing these deliveries. So I'm going to do this video about the things that I've learned since I've been back doing deliveries. And the first thing that I gotta say is that, well, it's truly not that bad. I thought doing deliveries would be horrible. I thought that it would be very, very quiet in my market because previously, I would say near the end of COVID days, that's exactly what happened. Things got rough. I would go out and do deliveries and sometimes be an hour and a half and not even get some good orders. But now I have resurfaced to having to do orders, and truthfully, they're not all that bad. You can get some really good orders, and if you do, I mean, it does make some great beneficial side income, which is the next thing that I'm going to go into, is that it's a great side hustle, or it's great for part-time. And yes, in case you're wondering, I do have a list because I don't want to forget things. They roll off the top of my head, but you don't remember everything, but it is a great side hustle. I am fortunate enough between Amazon and YouTube and other additional income that I don't talk about on YouTube that I do that helps to make up for things aside from only doing 2 or 3 hours of gig work 4 or 5 days a week. I mean, I would be struggling with the mentality of doing gig work if I had to do it full time, because I find that once you have to go out and about and you have no choice but to do this type of work, then it feels a lot more stressful. But as a side hustle or as part-time income, it's still good. And also, you can still make over $30 an hour from doing food delivery services. We've seen it in my videos. There's been plenty of days, it's not just 1 or 2 days, but quite a few days, where I have made over $30 an hour. Now, sure, yes, you are still gonna have those days where you essentially make $10 an hour. But when you tally everything together, your average, if you're making at least an average of $25 an hour, that's pretty good considering the fact that you also still have that one thing that we all want, which is a flexible schedule. This is still, to this day, the most flexible side hustle I have ever done in my life. I go out when I want, when I need to. I just click on the apps. Nothing much is required except for having internet connection. And I love that flexibility. There's no boss that I have to talk to if I'm running late. I run late. It's my own hours. But picking the hours is the most convenient thing. For anybody that's in school, for myself that I'm a mom, these are things that we need to consider when it comes to choosing our side hustles, and the flexibility is definitely there. But one thing I have also learned is multi-apping is still needed. For the majority of the time, I spend my time on Uber Eats, but if you notice on my ride-along videos, I'm majority of the time either having DoorDash and Uber or skip the dishes and Uber. Now, it's not about accepting one versus the other, but the order volume keeps on rotating if you have multiple apps, because clients are going to go to the app that they want most. So if you're on Uber Eats and it's dead, but you get a DoorDash order, at least you're getting something. Now, you might not be making as much money from one app versus the other, but the continuous flow of income is where it's at. I mean, if things got back to, I would say about a year and a half ago, when I found it to be so quiet and to the point that I wasn't making any money, I would be strongly disappointed. But with the multi-apping going on currently right now, I'm definitely not disappointed whatsoever. Another thing that I've realized, and this one I think most of us already knew, but being a regular as a driver in certain restaurants, that's a good thing. For example, Three Amigos. For the longest time, I had Three Amigos blacklisted because they never helped me as a driver. But now certain employees realize that I'm one of the good guys. So when I get there, they definitely prioritize me. I have my spot that I go in behind the counter to avoid the hecticness that happens in that restaurant. But being a regular helps out. Deli kebab, one of my most common and highest paying orders, comes from deli kebab. And if it wasn't for me having a good connection, I wouldn't get these orders out as fast as I do, but as well, the level of quality, how it's handed to me, the communication of me and these people that work there, that's a huge contributing factor towards being a regular. Now, another thing that I have realized, getting out of the house once in a while is pretty much a good thing. I might be social. I'm very interactive with people on a regular basis, and anybody that knows me knows that I do like to talk. but I am an introvert. I'm not the one that starts the party. I'm not really the one that hosts the party, but I am definitely the one that likes to communicate, but I like to be in my own bubble, my own circle. But getting out and doing gig work allows me to get out the house for a limited amount of time. That's not too much for me to handle, but as well enough to make it feel like I'm communicating with people, because, well, I don't. Besides talking to a camera and interacting with you lovelies in the comments, I don't get to see your faces on a regular basis. So that part can be hard because it does feel like a little bit of a detachment of being able to communicate with people. But by having gig work on my side, now I'm able to plug into you lovelies in the comments, but as well, regular people on a regular basis, whether it's customers or employees. To be honest, I do prefer the employees over the customers because I go to my regular locations, but it definitely makes a contributing factor. As well, you get to make some new friends, or in my case, sometimes new following. I get some people that recognize me outside since doing this YouTube channel, but I've made some friends from the restaurants. It's kind of creepy how they get your first and last name and they can contact you outside things, but they have, and I've made some really, really good friends out of doing this gig work business. Another thing is the companies might be cheap, but your clients, most of the times, they won't be. If you're cherry picking, that is. If you are cherry picking for these right orders, then you know you're going to secure some really, really good orders. And it's not these gig companies that are paying. We all know that. But when it comes to being a delivery driver and working for these gig apps, the one thing that we rely on the most is our customers. I wish it was different, but it's not. But as long as it is our customers, we do got to keep in mind that there's some really solid, great paying customers out there. Some that connect to us on a regular basis. Sometimes we're their regular drop-off driver because we're in the same market. And if that's your case scenario, I'm sure you know exactly what I'm talking about. And the last one that I got to mention here, I got to say last but not least, we have seen me do some huge ass orders. I think my largest one was like 17 items. I have had one with 19 items as well. And one thing I've learned is delivery bags are still a thing. Anybody can dispute me on delivery bags, whether I don't want to carry it, it's a hassle, whatever. But in my opinion, it is much more preferred for me to have a delivery bag to carry out this food, especially when it's all in bulk, versus not at all. My favorite is my bright orange Skip the Dishes bag. Although it's huge, it's a solid bottom, but as well, it's nice and bright. So if I'm doing deliveries in the evening, which 9 out of 10 times I am, and if it gets darker overnight, I'm not using my black delivery bag as much because when you snap the picture, it's really hard to see. But with the orange delivery bag, that makes a huge difference. Now, if you can relate to some of these things that I just said that you find also connects to you when it comes to gig work, comment below in the comment box. I want to hear what you have to say, and I'll catch you lovelies in the next video.